So the other side of the Motorfest updates I've been really wanting to talk about, and the other video I did kind of just made me go, dang, no, I seriously need to discuss this because it has been on my mind almost since launch. And the one thing I want to say though, guys, is Motorfest really does keep introducing some cool ideas and concepts to the game, man. I mean, that's obvious. But to be real though, it doesn't seem like they're actually trying to build on them. And some of this will end up coming down, some vehicles being added, different classes. Also, we will end up having some playlist-specific mechanics or themes and different things that I also think they could also build onto, with whether that's going to be permanent game modes or challenges or even more event challenges and different races on those. But a few of which, though, I wanted to discuss here. The first one, guys, I did talk about this in that one video, but the entire Hoonigan update had a ton of potential behind it to really add some other things into the game that could have been game modes or different things to do with that entire concept, because the entire events or races kind of being like a gymkhana type of thing or different things in there with jumps and all that could have been a really fun game mode. Now, the other one I wanted to mention, though, this wound up not really being in order, by the way, just putting that out there, but we also have the Red Bull Playground update thing, guys, which, by the way, I really do think they could have did more stuff with that entire update with PvP and other things, because they really could have built upon some of these cool things they added. I feel like they added and then they kind of just leave it, or they walk away or try to add more stuff, and they're adding other things instead of building upon the cool ideas they've already added into the game. I do know they're focusing on adding quote-unquote new content all the time, but what about adding existing things to the content that we already have gotten? I think that'd be pretty dope. Like the Red Bull Playground had a lot of cool tracks and other design things in it. That could have been really fun for some PvP modes or activities there for like regular lobbies. I don't know, dude. Even if you had to matchmake into a lobby to be in the like Red Bull area, I think that could have worked, because we do know the public lobbies are a bit hit or miss with the connection, so that probably wouldn't work. But maybe add some type of matchmaking thing into there where players can go in there, connect, and head over to the Red Bull Playground and do some activities. I think something like that would be pretty dope. What about also another example of a specific vehicle that was added? The Jet. Okay, the Jet was very cool, bro. Very unique. The only other game you could really fly a jet around and then drive a hypercar is probably Grand Theft Auto. It is a really cool thing, but the problem is, though, after that entire novelty wore off, which we all kind of knew, there is pretty much no reason to even use the Jet, and I did notice people kind of forgot about the Jet literally a week later. What if there was other activities we could do with the Jet? What if there were specific races made for the Jet, an entire like side playlist with like 7 or 8 races made for the Jet? That would be pretty dope. What if we had only PvP events for the Jet or different things like that that could really show you that this unique vehicle is actually being used? Like, dude, I do not understand how some of this stuff ain't, like, I don't understand how it's not a thing, man. I really don't. I can also keep going, by the way. We also have NASCAR. I've talked about this, but how in the world do you introduce something like NASCAR? You have that cool over track, you have these cool mechanics, and that's it, bro. You do the entire playlist, and that's it. Well, what about all the other potential and different things you could do with NASCAR, bro? What? Then we also have the RC cars. Now, I do know you can say that these are paid items that could also have an effect on the matchmaking, and I do understand that stuff. But the RC cars are insanely interesting and different, and something that's, again, not in basically anything else. And yet they barely added any regular RC-focused content to the game, man. What happened with all of that? I think full-on RC stuff would have been dope instead of a couple of races in a playlist, and then you could cruise around in them. But again, it's another thing that was added and then basically forgotten. Like, Motorfest really does add a lot of cool stuff to the game, bro. But the problem is they don't do enough with the things they are adding. At least that's what I really have been noticing. There's a lot of cool updates in this game, but it just seems like they're kind of missing the mark on a lot of the things they are adding into this game, man. And that's the issue. A new thing is added into the game, right? Every single update, a new thing is added. You play it a little bit, you finish it. Obviously, that doesn't take too long because there's not a ton of stuff most of the time to do there. You move on, you literally forget about it, and then you're waiting for the next update every single time. It's legitimately a cycle that I have been noticing in a lot of live service games, but it seems like these are so dang bad, bro. You jump in, you play the new thing, you finish it, you move on, and most people forget about the updates. In a week or two, they do not really care that much. Instead, I would rather see something like the new thing is added, it's introduced into it, maybe they expand on it, and maybe have a wider game mode or something into it with that's added, and it gives players a reason to keep using that said thing that they added. For example, the NASCAR had its own playlist. That's cool. But what if it had its own PvP mode around that track or different things tied to NASCAR? What if the Jet had different things tied to it to give you a reason? What if the Hoonigan update had different things tied to it, right? What if we had the entire Red Bull playground that gave you a reason to do some of those things on there? And another example of this could even be the Chase Squad, bro. This could also work as well. Imagine having a Chase Squad update or something, or a Chase Squad thing to where the players versus players, cops, obviously it's cats versus dogs, not the point here. But either way, though, use those cars and versus each other, kind of like the PvP modes we saw in Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, you know, cops versus racers. That would be so dope. And the thing is, people can argue that that wouldn't work, but the thing is, I bet you a lot of people would play it if it was done correctly and introduced. Players would probably have a great time in that stuff, man. Imagine having focused modes with the Chase Squad or something. You know, that would be so cool, bro. And people might be like, well, licensing blocked. They're not real police cars. They're glowing cars with dogs and cats on them. So I highly doubt the entire part of maybe licensing playing a role there, but it kind of frustrates me. Imagine having a focused PvP mode on that, and then again, guys, imagine having focused PvP on NASCAR, or different time trials with the NASCARs, or having weekly challenges with just NASCAR, just the Jets, or different things you could do that would bring in rotating events with these other classes and cool concepts that they added that would bring players back into wanting to use those things even more. Bro, that would be so dang fun. I would have so much fun with that, whether that was the Jet RC, the Hoonigan update. It would be so cool having special events or different things you could do with those. Maybe even special leaderboard competitions with some of them. I don't know, bro. Introduce some of the cool things you guys have added. There is legit so many different options they could really do. And then on the other side of this is the playlist specific mechanics or events that we saw too. Why does those things have to be a one and done thing, man? Why can't those things also be used in other parts of the game for PvP or activities, like some of the drag type of events, or even having something along the lines of those being tied to PvP events, whether that's with NASCAR, RC, the Red Bull playground. There are so many different things they could do with the set updates we've already gotten, guys. It's kind of mind-blowing to me that a lot of the updates in these games really are just a new thing. You play it, you finish it, and then you move on, and you literally forget the update existed, guys. Like, a lot of the old updates in the game, does anybody even really remember or even care about them now? You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing dragging you back, bro. I almost literally forgot about most of the updates in Motorfest. I sometimes have to look things up because they're that forgotten. And then you pretty much always wait for the next new update or next new thing to come. And I really do think that's unfortunate, man. They add something new. It would be so cool for them to expand on some of the things they've already done to bring players back into those activities and make them feel kind of useful and special and also fun again, instead of always focusing on the next thing, which again will put you right into the same cycle, bro, of okay, we played it, we're done, we're bored in a week. When is the next update of Motorfest? But imagine a lot of the activities were added would always give players a reason to come back to it, dude. I think for me recently, the NASCAR update had to be one of the most biggest L's I've ever seen in any of these games ever, bro. There was just so many different things they could have done. I don't know if it was licensing or whatever held them back, but my goodness, they really missed the mark on that entire update because they could have did so many things to make PvP or other stuff so dang fun. But instead, they kind of just put the playlist out, you played it. And now, who is talking about NASCAR, guys? Basically nobody. Who's talking about RC cars? And mind you, those came out like 3 months ago. Again, nobody is talking about RC cars either, man. Who talks about the Hoonigan Island? Probably going to start hearing crickets soon. Also, the Red Bull Playground. Legit, no one talks about it. I don't remember the last time somebody has mentioned something about the Jet. Simply because there is no reason to use it. Even the other side of it, the Chase Squad people did it. It was interesting. But they, again, never expanded on a cool concept that they added that greatly would have made more people probably get it and play it if there was other modes or different things tied to some of this stuff, guys. I really do wish they would focus on this instead of having, okay, these are just one update gimmicks, enjoy it, and then they are basically done forever. Another thing, the bike that goes on the water, bro. That was also a cool concept, right? It wasn't a full-on update, but it was a unique vehicle that they could have built on in the entire ecosystem in Motorfest, of whether that was a PvP event focus for it. I talked about this in that one video. Why is it that every single part that is added into the game feels like a one update, basically one and done type of update? You do it, it's over, and it's basically never coming back, bro. Why does every single one really do feel like that? Why aren't they building upon some of these things, as there are so many ways they could do it that would bring players back? And I really do think if they did stuff like that, more and more people would most likely jump on this game and probably play it because, oh, look, I know I get excited if I saw something with the jet or a full-on NASCAR focused or something with the Red Bull thing. I would be like, let me go to the playground, let me matchmake, let me do some activities in that area, like the link-up thing in Need for Speed Unbound. Imagine having that in the Red Bull playground for everyone to mess around there and do things as people that they've never met before. I don't know, bro. Like, put random people in there. Again, multiplayer is on the side of Cook, though, so maybe make it so it's a matchmaking system like Demo Royale or even something like Ran Racing. That way players can go in and meet up with other people and do some of these cool activities that were added onto the classes and cool things that we've already gotten, guys, because it really does bother me how almost every single update when I look back to Motorfest was legit a one and done update. Basically everything you could do in there is pretty much done by a week or so, and you're immediately always waiting for the next cycle of updates, which you then fall into the same cycle that we've been in the entire time. I really do wish they would actually expand on the cool things they are adding instead of making it feel like they're adding cool things, but they simply do not do enough with them. Do let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. I would personally love to see, at least in the next crew game, if they're going to add updates, build upon these things in a positive way to make them fun so players could go back to them or have some type of activities instead of going, okay, well, that's a new update, you're done with it, move on and wait for the next one. To be honest, it's a never-ending cycle that I think everybody at this point is tired of.